Our school, Michaelnagar Shikshaniketan, government-sponsored co-ed English medium higher secondary, has taken an excellent initiative in conducting online classes through YouTube channel. Even in this pandemic situation, our school did not step aback in providing and enhancing knowledge to the students. So, it's a request to the viewers, please like, comment and subscribe.
So today we are going to start with the last part of our chapter of evolution and adaptation, that is what are the different evidences that we have got along the through the evidences through which we can understand the actual process of evolution, or what is the theory. According to the theory, the different scientists have said, put forward different types of theories. So according to that theory, what are the different evidences that we are getting? Okay. So, the very first thing when we are considering ourselves with the evidences that is we are getting, the number one thing that comes to our mind are fossils, because the fossils, we know what fossils are, right? Fossils are the dead remains of organic plants and animals in course of time when after they died. Suppose in a particular area there were different types of flora and fauna present in that particular place. After that place got destroyed due to some environmental constraints, all the plants and animals, they died in that particular place, and they got to different processes of weathering, and the different layers of soil got deposited over it, that is sediments, right? And in lakhs and lakhs of years, these sediments, they kept on building up over that particular layer, organic matter layer. So as what happens, due to the extreme pressure and the temperature inside that particular soil layers, these fossils are produced. Okay. Now, what is the study of fossils called? The study of fossil is called paleontology. This is basically the study of fossils, that is known as paleontology. Now, there can be different types of fossils. Okay. Now, I have named some of them. Some of the different types of fossils, number one is compactions, then we have compressions and impressions, then there are petrifactions, casts and molds, and there are so many. Out of all these fossils, the most important ones are the intact preservations. Okay. And these compactions, casts and molds, they are also very important. They are mostly found. Okay. Now, when we are talking about intact preservations, what does intact preservations means? Intact preservation as in when the whole animal is present in that particular fossil. That means when you are retrieving under the soil, you get that whole animal in the form of a fossil. That is known as intact preservation. Whereas in the other types, we will see that due to the various processes of weathering, of sedimentation and casting and moldings, what happens? The animal or the body of the animal itself get decomposed, but the molds, they remain in that particular soil or rock or whatever. Then when people dug them out, then they get that particular soil, and that particular mold or figure of that particular animal is imprinted on that particular rock. So this is the thing in most of the cases, but there are sometimes we can also see intact preservations where as a whole the animal is only present over there. The animal itself has not got decomposed, or not fully, I cannot say intact, but majority of the parts are still left. So out of these, the most important ones are the missing links. Now what are missing links? Missing links are certain animals which are obviously dead, which are extinct, they are not present now. When we are talking about missing links, that means these are certain animals which were present on the surface of the earth at some point of time, but not now, and they are having characters which reflect the presence of two or more different groups in them. For example, Archaeopteryx. Archaeopteryx is a animal which was retrieved from the underground by the scientists, and these Archaeopteryx, this particular animal showed characters of both reptiles and birds. Okay. So from these, actually these missing links are very important because it helps in understanding the path of evolution. Okay. Now since we can see, we know that there are reptiles, right? We know there are reptiles and we know there are birds. But when we are getting something in the middle, that means we are understanding the evolution process actually went in this way, not in this way, right. So we get a particular pathway of evolution. So that is why missing links are very important. And another type of thing is there, that is the connecting link. These connecting links, they are not fossils, okay. I have just put an NB over here, which is I think you should know, that is connecting links. These connecting links, unlike the missing links, they are living organisms and still living. They are living, they are not dead. They are still present on the surface of the earth and they show the characters of different groups. Okay, so they are called the connecting links. For example, the Protopterus or the lungfish. Okay, and there are so many other examples. Out of that, I have just given the lungfish. The lungfish, they possess the characters of two different types of groups. Okay, so this is all about the types of fossils, paleontology, and from this part you generally get very short questions where you can be asked that MCQs can come from missing links, right. And then you may be asked, maybe 2 marks or 3 marks question can come, like how fossils are formed, what are the different types of fossils we get, or what is paleontology. All these different types of questions can come. Okay. Now we come to the most important part of these evidences, that is the evolution of a horse. Okay. Now if you look at this, I have just made a chart. Okay. The evolution of a horse worked in this way. This is the modern time. Okay. So when we are seeing, I have tried to draw the figure of their feet, okay, of their limbs. These are their limbs, and as you can see, the different types of the shape of the limb gradually changed in course of time when we are going downwards. That means when we are reaching towards the equus, that is the final part of the modern type of horse that is present now. If we see its evolution from Hyracotherium till equus, then we will see the different types of limb differences or the number of digits, how they differed and what are the different kinds of shape that they changed in course of time. So the very first one was you may, let me tell you one thing, in different types of sources in the internet, in the book, you might get different names, okay. But actually there are, I have written only 5, but there are not only 5, there are so many different kinds, okay. But I have given the most important ones. In different types of sources you will get different names, okay. So no need to worry about it. So I have just written this. So the first one is Hyracotherium, then comes the Mesohippus. If you see that there are prominent digits you can see 2, 3, 4, 5 you can digits, and when we are coming to Mesohippus, then you see the 5th digit is not there. So 2, 3, 4, and when we are coming to Merychippus, then you see these digits have nearly shrunk, right, they have nearly shrunk, and when we are coming to Pleohippus, you see they have totally gone upwards of this part, in the upper part of this main digit number 3. And when we are coming to equus, they have totally placed themselves over here, and considerable formation of the proper hoof is seen in the equus, which is not seen in any of the previous horses. So this is the evolution of horse. To the next part of the evidences of the theory of evolution, that is, we can also learn about the pathway of evolution through while observing different types of organs, or when we are comparing the different types of organs of the different types of animals that were once found or that are still found, then we can definitely get certain evidences about the pathway of evolution, about the direction of evolution. Okay. So the very first type of organs which we can see within, when we are searching for the different fossils and when we are studying the different types of fossils and other evidences, then we can find the homologous organs, then we can find the analogous organs, and we can also find the vestigial organs. Now I have just given a brief idea and I have written the important points which you need to remember, and I think this will also act as a comparison, so it will be easier for you to see. So I will tell you. The very first one, see the first character of the homologous organs, if I give you the example later, let me first tell you the characters. The homologous organs, the very first character is they belong to the same embryonic origin. That means when we are talking about organ A, B, C and D, these 4 organs always have the same embryonic origin. Okay. Basic structural similarity. If we look at the structure, then we will also find that there is a basic similarity in the structure of the organs A, B, C and D of different animals. We are talking about organs of different animals, and but functionally they may or may not be similar or different, whatever you say. So, the functions may be same or different, it depends. And this is a type of divergent evolution. Why divergent evolution? Because remember, we are starting from a same embryonic origin. That means suppose we are starting from the same embryonic origin, and due to the different environmental conditions of the different animals that they are facing, they are basically using those organs which are structurally similar in different types of functions accordingly. So, that means the functions are getting diverged like this. So, that is why this is known as the divergent evolution. Okay, I will give you some example, then you will understand. Suppose the flippers of seal, the wings of birds, the patagium of the bat, the forelimbs of the horse and the human arms. So, when we are talking about the forelimbs of different types of organisms, we are talking about seals, we are talking about birds, bats, horses and human arms. So, you will see that all the organs, if you look at the basic structural character, you will find all of these organs have the same basic structural features, but all of their functions may or may not be different. The flipper is generally used to swim, right? The seals use the flippers to swim and to walk as well. Then the wings of the bird, they are used to fly. Then the patagium of bat, it is sometimes used to hang and it is also used to fly. Forelimbs of horse, we know they have a different function, and the human arms. So, we also have different functions. So, all these type of organs all belonging to the forelimbs, that means they have the basic structural feature, okay, but different functions or same functions can also be there, okay. And when we are talking about plants, homologous organs are also present in plants. For example, see the stem of Opuntia, ginger and potato. When we are talking about the stem of Opuntia, ginger and potato, we will see that the stem of Opuntia is modified into a phylloclade, whereas the ginger is a type of rhizome and the potatoes are tubers. So, all of these have a basic embryonic origin, but their functions are same or different, and their structures, they are also similar, okay. So, this is all about homologous organs. Now, when we are talking about analogous organs, what is happening? Analogous organs are happening when we are starting from divergent areas and we are pointing towards the same direction. So, this is a type of convergent evolution. This is a type of convergent evolution. Okay, I will tell you why. Let me read. Different embryonic origin. The very first point is the different embryonic origin. That's why we are starting from different areas. They are starting from different areas and their structures are completely different as well. No similar structures, completely different, but they have similar functions. So, that is why they are converging at one point, that is the functions, and that is why this type of evolution is known as the convergent evolution. Now, why is this kind of things happening? This kind of organs generally arise when different types of organisms coming from different types of structural features, they come together and they stay in a place where the environmental conditions are same. So, then I will give you the example. Suppose the wings of insects, bats and birds. So, insects, bats and birds, all of them are using wings and their wings are used to fly. They fly with their wings, but each of their structural features are completely different from one another. The wings of insects are nothing like the bats, and the bats' wings are nothing like the birds' is. Okay? So, that is why these are the analogous organs. And when we are talking about plants, analogous organs are also present in plants. For example, the tendril of pea and the tendril of jhumkolata, both are tendrils. Okay, both are tendrils, they are used in the same function, but their structure are different. Why? Because tendril of pea is a modified form of a leaf. It is formed from the modification of a leaf, whereas the jhumkolata one, it is formed from the modified form of a stem. Okay. So, these are the basic differences or the comparison between homologous and analogous organs. Now, when we are coming to another type of organ, that is the vestigial organs. Now, these vestigial organs, they are non-functional organs. Now, at some point they are non-functional, but when we are talking back or when we are talking about our predecessors and ancestors, then these organs were definitely fully functional. So, they are known as vestigial. So, they are reduced, they are present in reduced form, they are non-functional at present, but were completely functional in ancestors and predecessors. For examples, in humans, appendix is present, right. So, appendix in our intestine, the one end of the intestine we find, and that is non-functional completely. It has no function in our body, but it is still there. So, that is an example of a vestigial organ in animals, and when we are talking about vestigial organs in plants, then they are the vestigial stamens of the Labiataceae and the Cucurbitaceae families. Then we are talking about the non-functional pistils of the male flowers of Cucurbitaceae. So, all these different types of organs, they are very important, very important part, because the questions definitely come every year, 1 or 2 questions come from this part. So, I hope if you write this down, it will be enough. You do not need to remember anything else from this part. Okay? Another important thing is left, that is the last part of this chapter, that is the evolution of the heart. Now, similarly, when we are talking about the different types of organs here we are talking about the limbs. Similarly, if we look at the structure of the heart and make a comparative anatomy from the fishes to the mammals, then we will see or we will understand or we will get an idea about a definite direction of evolution from the fishes to the mammals. Let us see how is it similar, or how can we determine that whether the direction is from the fish or the mammals to the mammals. Now, see, we know that our heart has 4 chambers, right. It has 4 chambers, 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. But in the fishes, if we see that there are only 2 chambers, that is 1 auricle and 1 ventricle. Okay. Now, when we are talking about frogs, then we will see that there are 3 chambers, 2 auricles and 1 ventricle. Okay. Now, when we are moving to the next part, then we will see 2 auricles and 1 ventricles, but this ventricle has an incomplete septum in between. That means there is a verge of division between the ventricles in case of reptiles. So, that is why I have written 4 chambers without complete separation. The ventricles, they are not separated yet, which are completely separated in the next groups. That is, in mammals when we see, then they are completely divided into 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. So, definitely we can see that there is a slow change of evolution of the heart from fishes to the mammals. So, this definitely says that evolution has a particular direction. So, with this we come to the end of this chapter. If you have not seen the videos before, then I would request you to go and see those videos first, otherwise this part will not be easy to understand. Thank you.
Subscribe. Click on the bell. Like, comment, share.